Boy, do I have a video for you guys. Every Tuesday, there seems to be new campaigns for board games out on GameFound, out on BackerKit, out on Kickstarter. And we're going to be looking at all three today because there's actually quite a bit to announce. There are some big announcements of what's coming up next, so I'll be doing that. And an announcement of what I'll actually be dedicating a whole video to tomorrow. Now, I have some specific questions for you guys on some of these. Mainly, should I back one of these in particular I'm kind of looking at? I think I might like it. I would love for you to tell me that and more. But for now, let's thank today's sponsor, GameWorkCreate. They sponsor the channel, and what they do is they offer a lot of these games that you can only get on Kickstarter or GameFound or the special editions, and they make it available to a wider audience well after the campaign so that more people can get that, and you're not just like, oh, I didn't know about it back then, which is super awesome. They also do a lot of RPG stuff and some new dice sets. So if you look at like their stock right now, as you can see, they have like Bantam West here, right, for 150. I just unboxed that. So if you want Bantam West, and notice Kickstarter exclusive, right? If you want it, you can still get it here, and for a, I think, quite reasonable price, considering that they're making that available to you afterwards. I think that's super awesome, and they do that for a lot of stuff. For instance, Chronicles Drunagor Apocalypse. I've been playing that. You can see some of the health markers here. It is such a huge game. I've been working on this game for quite some time, working my way through the campaign, making sure that when I do a review for it, it's a really good review that's well versed in the game. So I've been doing that. It's a big game. It's awesome, and 125 bucks. That is a steal, guys. That is a great price for that. It really, really is. And they have all sorts of stuff. They have cool RPG books, accessories, stuff like that. They do premium dice. You can do that. And of course, pre-orders are coming soon, like Kabula and stuff like that. As they arrive, they make those available to you. And they don't BS you like some other sites where they do it way early and then it never delivers or anything like that. They're only asking for money when they know the game's actually getting made so that you're guaranteed to get your product. So go ahead and check them out below. They are linked down in the description. That's GameWorkCreate. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for supporting GameWorkCreate. Okay, moving on from that, Moonrollers and Darkmatter. It's not every day I open up with BackerKit crowdfunding, but here we are with BackerKit crowdfunding. Ivy Studio has been using BackerKit, and as you can see, they're doing quite well. $153,000 raised. They just launched this day of recording. There was still 13 days to go, almost 2,000 backers, and the fact that they raised over $150,000 on such a small cost game, pretty impressive. So what is this? Because it's kind of confusing. There's Moonrollers and there's a Moonraker double feature thing. What the heck is going on here? Let me try to explain a little bit. Now, there is one issue I have with BackerKit, and that's that they don't show you the pledge levels. You have to actually go to it, you have to like navigate to it. It's like a single page application. It's kind of nice to have all this stuff here, but it's still like in line with this as well. They kind of go over it here, but it's a little confusing on what's a pledge level versus whatnot. So pledge levels, we'll look at that first. There is a $20 Darkmatter Collector's Edition. It's a 35-card Moonraker expansion. Darkmatter is a new feature within the game where you essentially get this resource that has like a cost, but then it's also really good, and so you can use that to various degrees. Then there's a Moonrollers Collector's Edition. We'll go over that in a little bit more detail, and then you can get both for $50. I think honestly, for the premiumness that these are a pretty good deal. But let's go ahead and take a look at it a little bit more specifically. So, and you know, Alex talks about like this or whatever. He has a comment later on I want to point out, so I'll be sure to do that. So the Moonrollers, it again has these red foil tokens, holographic cards, a red foil box. These foil parts are the kind of exclusive thing here. They also have the Atlas box plus mat. This holds the actual other box inside of it, plus it has the neoprene mat and dice tray and stuff like that. So it's actually quite nice and pretty cheap. Again, we'll go over that in a little bit. Then of course you get the holographic Intrepid Collector's cards and the black foil Darkmatter cards. Those are kind of fun. Those are pretty cool. So let's go ahead and scroll down here. What is Moonrollers? 30 bucks gets you this, which I think is actually a pretty good deal. I think $30 for a card slash dice game is actually a sweet spot for me. At $30, I'm like, all right, I'm in, let's go. Like that's an easy thing. This is a thing that even the creator kind of talks about in the video where it's like, this is really good to lead into a board game night or to have a really quick casual game night with like family on the weekend, stuff like that. I live for this kind of stuff because I get to play it so often. Get more on that later, but it's really nice to see that. I think that's a good price, again, for all foil and premiumness that it is, and you get all these custom dice, and you have the little dual layer board and stuff like that. It's really, really nice. For 30 bucks, that's actually quite impressive. Ivy Studio, I think, does really good quality stuff for the price that they charge. It's not something you get every day on crowdfunding anymore. So it is really nice. I think it helps that the company isn't like beholden to making all their money on board games. So they do get to cheat a little bit there, but that's okay. Either way, we win out on that, I think. So as you can see, there's like 50 player tokens and 45 hazard tokens and 30 crew cards and 12. This is like, again, there's quite a bit here. Like this is underselling it, right? You get way more cards of this and stuff. So there's actually quite a bit there. Pretty impressive if you ask me. Then you have the Intrepid. This is like the free Moonrollers thing. And again, this is where they're unlocking more cards. I apologize, I said Darkmatter. I meant this one. Though, again, it's all kind of going into the Moonrakers theme as well. Though, this is kind of what transfers the Moonrollers into the Moonrakers expansion. A little confusing. It's an expansion that can also be used as an expansion, whatever. Anyway, so you start out with the 10 contracts, but again, they're adding one each time. As you saw, they're close to adding another one. They've already added some, so very cool to see that. This right here, I wanted to point out. Alex says, is it wrong to say, first of all, no, it's not wrong to say anything, that's your opinion, that I can easily see this becoming my most played Ivy Studio game? I don't think so at all. In fact, that's what I wanted to point out. One of the things that I find lately, right, when it comes to especially these, I love these big narrative meaty games like Chronicles of Drunagar Apocalypse. I've been loving my time with that, and my family has too, and it's been really fun, and I enjoy that. However, often it's super nice just to get a game out and play it and enjoy it. It's why I've been liking deck builder games so much lately, and all these card games, because they're way cheaper and I can actually play them more often because I don't have to make it some big event or some big night and everybody's schedules have to align and you have to do all that. No, you can get that off the shelf and play it real quick, real easy with whoever wants to play, and I love it. So I can easily see a game like this becoming your most played game if it's fun, if it's enjoyable, and it's quick. Heck yeah, play the tar out of it. I'm all for it. I fully agree with that, and I think that adds to the value, personal opinion. I know if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know I've been on that kick lately for these like cheaper games that I can just get to the table and enjoy. This is right up on there. And actually, let me know if you think I should back this or not, especially without having the main game. In other words, I just get it for the Moonroller. Is that something that I should look into? I don't know. You let me know. What is Darkmatter? So that's the $20 expansion here. This one's not quite as good of a deal when it comes to like how much you're getting, but when you get it in the package deal, I think it's still really good. So as you can see, you get 20 Darkmatter cards and you get 5 Darkmatter crew that use that, 10 new ship parts. They're all this black foil, holographic foil. Looks pretty sweet. You can see it right there. And again, you get like 27 sleeves with it. It comes with sleeves. Come on. That's super helpful, especially for foil cards. Sometimes they do tend to bend. A sleeve can help keep that a little bit straighter, so that's really good. So anyway, then you have, of course, the collector's thing and talk about all the stuff that you get there, so that's really cool. They do have these metal dice upgrades. They call it aluminium instead of aluminum, but that's okay. Nobody's perfect. 12 metal dice for $50. That's freaking expensive. That is expensive. Remember, Oathsworn with their 4 was not like this at all. Now, this is 12 granted, but either way, they're making some good money on that, and that's fine. I think a lot of times add-ons help make the money where the core game has a very slim margin, and it makes the majority of people have a really good deal. Not the best deal ever for 12 metal dice. One thing to note. So I got this beautiful table here from Geek and Son. I'm going to be talking about the accessories that I got for it soon. Stay tuned for that, because I'll talk about it. I wanted to actually use them a lot, so I've been using them a lot. But we have some metal dice, and we started rolling them in there, not thinking about it, and guess what happens when they hit the wall of the well? That's right, they ding the wood because they're giant metal dice, and you're chucking them or whatever. So if you do get these, have a dice tray. If you don't have one, get this one. Do not roll these in your nice wooden game table. You will dent the sides. Just don't do it. Put them in something like this where they're contained and they can not damage things. In fact, they might even mark that up. Just as metal dice are cool. They're heavy. They're fun. They roll different. It's fine. But yeah, they can cause some damage. $25 for 45 metal tokens. I think that's great. I don't know if they have a wash or not, but regardless, they're going to be super premium because they're made by Ivy Studios. You can get more sleeves. And then that Atlas box, again, that's super cool. 15 bucks. Let's go to shipping real quick here because I think that's important. Go down to shipping over here. Scrolling down, shipping. Here we go. So I guess I clicked retailers on accident. Okay, so what they're doing is they're doing a subsidized flat rate shipping, right? So in other words, instead of like really, specifying each individual area kind of more, instead they're like, everybody's going to ship this It doesn't really matter unless you get dark matter only. So for dark matter only, you get this. Otherwise, it's this flat rate shipping regardless of your order, which means it's a great deal for stuff like the box, right? That's super cool. And as you can see, for the US, this is the lower 48 contiguous states. It's $10. I think I used contiguous, right? And then one thing they do that I don't necessarily like, but let me know about you, because I imagine you guys in other countries prefer this. I don't like it because I can't compare it as well. They convert to the money. So this is Canadian dollaroos, the 45 of them. Now, obviously, as play money, the 45 is less than the real dollar, the USD. But what that conversion is, I don't know. I just know that it's less USD. So I can't necessarily compare to this and tell you how good of a deal each one is, right? So just as, and then of course you got the Australian dollaroos as well. And again, I have no idea what 22 AUD is. Let me know if you prefer seeing it converted to your currency, or if you'd rather see the USD across the board so you can more easily compare. Or maybe for you guys that aren't USD based, you guys compare all the time anyway. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, but for me, I can't quite tell. That being said, when it comes to the rest of the world, if you do not fall in this, which they do break it down, which is nice, you're looking at 50 plus. It's just expensive, but if you fall in one of those locations, you're probably pretty used to it as well. It sucks, but without the infrastructure to do fulfillment as well, it just tends to get really, really expensive. Either way, looks like a cool deal, and let's see, we got 13 days left on that, so definitely cool. Definitely, I think, recommended for me. Even though I've not played the game, it just looks like a really cool deal, and I know they make quality content. Next up, we have Maxim Premium Board Game Table. Now, they were at Essen Spiel a lot, and I showed this briefly along with many other game tables. There were so many game table companies at Essen Spiel. I was honestly surprised. They are coming out everywhere. It's like everybody's saying to do now. This is kind of interesting. Notice 5 backers raised $30,000. That tells you a little bit about how expensive these are. And in that case, how niche they are, hence the 5 backers. Now, it's not funded yet, so we'll see. That being said, they did just launch. So what is this? Well, this is the Maxim Premium. That comes with some things. One of the things they changed is the actual feet here. I actually don't like this. I much prefer this. This is nice to slide around on carpet. It's actually kind of convenient. You can like push it around and stuff like that. I had a desk like this once. It had almost the exact same, except it was rounded. But for those sitting at the edge, I find you can normally be a little bit more comfortable with it open than with it having something on the bottom. So when you scoot in too far or something like that, it can hit it. Now, they can play with the overhang, but the overhang doesn't look too big. So this is an FYI. I actually prefer these when it comes to actually using the product, regardless of, you know, how it actually looks. Now, of course, they have a whole bunch of extra stuff. They can do wireless charging and all these different accessories and stuff like that. Notice, by the way, the railing is not on the outside, so it does look a bit nicer, right? One of the things about these are the inside or the outside railing. It has inside railing too, but you see the railing. And this one, the railing is all set where it's not facing the outside. Kind of an interesting setup that they have there. But hey, it works. So as you can see, it has LED and all that other stuff. It's very nice, of course. You can see right there, you can have different grooves and stuff like that. That again, look really nice. Looks premium. You can hold your cards there and stuff. Of course, there's a lot of potential there. So they're going through it, but always a but. How much does it cost, right? Here's some shipping here. Did I skip over the, or do they do shipping first? They do shipping before rewards. Okay. I was like, I thought, who does at least they're upfront about it. So here's the shipping. Yeah, that's the problem about buying these, regardless of getting them, right, is regardless of how much expensive they are, they are brought in like single, like a big truck arrives at your door. Often, if the company is nice, like Geek and Son and stuff like that, they'll often drop it like on your driveway or in your garage even. I know the Origins table was actually put in my garage, so like they'll do it off of convenient there and stuff. But it's also kind of a white glove service, and it kind of has to be with how heavy it is. It arrives on its own pallet and stuff like that. So yeah, gets kind of expensive. Include that in the price that you're looking at here. So as you can see here, that they're not even doing the US. It looks like this is all EU stuff. So Germany, Denmark, Poland, United Kingdom, Switzerland, right? All these places that you've heard of before. Even stuff like France. I'm kidding. No, but seriously, pretty darn expensive. Okay, so if we go to the timeline here, as you can see, you're expected to get it by the end of the year. and they're still like $3,360 on top of the shipping. I'm glad they're being upfront about the shipping. I'm glad they're not pulling a BS thing like $75 and they'll ship it to Walmart like the scams that we've seen before from Toyzo. So really, really good to see that. And that's a realistic price. These are fancy, they're expensive, and they're nice. They are really nice. If you can afford it, I highly recommend getting it. It is lovely. As you can see, it looks like not even all of these have really been funded or are backed. It looks like one person grabbed this one and 3 people grabbed this one, the early bird discount, of course. And then I think one person grabbed this one as well, and then none at the top. So again, very expensive, very nice, of course, very premium, lots of customization. If you can do it, highly recommended, but expensive. And it's from another new company, right? These things come out and you never quite know exactly what you're getting. It is nice to see it at a convention, so if you went to Essen Spiel 2023, you were able to take a look at it. That certainly helps a lot. Next up, another table. This is AdapTableTop. This is actually coming out soon, but I wanted to mention it at the same time. I actually just got the STLs for this. They had some issues with shipping, and so they launched the STLs to kind of help send it. This is by GameStart Studio, and now they'll have some extras that they're able to actually go through. I think, for an issue that they had, they solved it fairly well, and I was able to get a 3D printed one, which is awesome. I plan on actually expanding these tables. In other words, when I play Warhammer, I need a 4x6 and ideally a little bit more to stage my units, right? So I'm talking like even longer. If I put that on here, not only does it get taller, but it actually expands. So if you want to buy this for stuff like Warhammer, or if you want to print it, that kind of stuff can come in real big handy. So that's why I'm doing it. And then, of course, you get the space underneath. I think that's pretty cool. You can actually even get these straight legs tall enough to actually even play on it, kind of like a little coffee table kind of thing. So anyway, feel free to check it out. Do your research on it, especially when it comes to the shipping issue before. See how you feel about that, of course. Next up, a DCeased update. First of all, pretty much the last 48 hours. As you can see, 53 hours by the time of recording. By the time it's to you guys, it's going to be the last a little bit. 1.5 million raised, almost 9,000 backers. It has kind of gone up, and I think it's going to keep going up. They did announce several things. First of all is the Arkham Asylum expansion. This is a big $60 one, but it definitely adds what a lot of people, I think, were wanting, of course, and it has quite a few Kickstarter exclusives as well. So we'll take a look at that real quick. Obviously, it comes with the Arkham Asylum area to explore, so that's huge. Plus, on the other side, Gotham Sewers, so definitely, more Batman based, of course. You get the Harley Quinn hero, that's a big deal. You get the Poison Ivy hero, those two go together pretty much hand in hand. Two-Face, you get Mr. Freeze, and then, of course, you get Bane. That's going to be a fun one, obviously. And then you also have Hush, which is an interesting choice. And then you have a Joker zombie hero. Now, they have pretty much made all of these into normal heroes, too. So, like, there's another Kickstarter exclusive Joker stretch goal. Killer Croc, that'll be a fun one. Victor Zsasz. And Clayface, which is a big deal there. Of course, he's awesome. Scarecrow, you got him there also. And Man-Bat. So quite a few. And then the Titan inmates. You also have Professor Hugo Strange and Jeremiah Arkham, as well as Aaron Cash and Calendar Man, which I'm kind of bummed I can't play as Calendar Man. He's just a funny guy. I love the silly part of comic books. They aren't around too often, but when they are, they're a lot of fun. Plus, of course, equipment, and there's, of course, the Joker hero and the Harley Quinn zombie that are exclusive, along with Riddler boxes. Okay, so that's that. However, if I go to updates here, you're going to see, of course, a lot of unlocks, but one of the things that they're doing is the Undead Gods plus Omega Pledge. So there's another expansion, the last one. This is a $50 expansion that involves quite a big thing. Dark Side, obviously. So this follows, again, a lot of the comic storyline when it comes to a lot of this. So you have the High Father. And again, I know not all of you will know who this is because, not everybody's a DC comic nerd. Mr. Miracle, obviously big deal there. He's got his discs that are super awesome. You got Big Barda. She's great in the story. I really liked her part in the story. You got Orion. He's, again, one of those goofy characters that I love. I love the fact that they're still around. You got Metron. That was a fun part of the story as well. He gets tricked. He's unhappy about it. Very powerful. Calls it Granny Goodness. I love the different body types. I get so tired. And the fact that I have to go to a comic book to get this, right? Where every character is like super lean and fit and all this stuff like that. And I'm not saying I want everybody to look like me, but it is nice, especially as a painter, to get unique stuff to paint. And different body types can certainly do that. So I really do dig that. And it's just a fun one, of course. And then, of course, you get Darkseid, who's zombie, and I guess he's not in the middle of his plan anymore, so that's good. You got Bernadette, you got Lashna, you got Stampa, again, some silly ones, Mad Harriet, and then, of course, the Parademons as well. And then, of course, some equipment. The Omega Pledge, $390. That is the all-in pledge. All expansions for a $35 discount. Plus, they are calling these three, the Unkillables, the Shadow Pact, and the Undead Gods. In other words, the one I just showed, which is surprising because it has Darkseid in it, as Kickstarter exclusive, right? So only the Green Lantern Corps, which is a great one, mind, the Gotham Knights, and the Arkham Asylum are going to be retail. So that's kind of interesting to know. Plus, they added these other ones that you only get with the complete pledge, right? This Omega Pledge here. And I'm kind of bummed, at least, about these, even though this is probably the only gameplay one, and I'll kind of explain that for a little bit. So if we go here, these are replacing 3D tokens. In other words, it's a 3D terrain pack, and it's a bummer that you can't just buy that separately, because I know a lot of people that would get just a base game and still get an upgrade pack, but no, you can't get that. It's only with the Omega Pledge. You get a cool deal Panic Globe, and then you get the phone booth and the street lamps. They don't show the basing on this, but I'm sure it's going to have a base of some kind. I just don't know what it's going to be. Then they have Giganta. She's a big part of the story, a big catalyst, and they're, of course, giant character, so a giant mini as well. You can see her size here. And again, she's hunched down, too. She was standing up and be a lot taller, right? Batman doesn't even go up to her shins. So there's that. Anyway, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts on that is. I'm definitely not going to do, I think, the 380 here on Kickstarter, but I probably will in the Pledge Manager. For now, I'm just going to keep my base pledge, so I feel better when it's only upgrading about another $200-ish as opposed to doing that. But I am a big fan of the DC universe. I am a big fan of the DCeased storyline, and I'm a big fan of Zombicide. It gets played all the time. We enjoy it as a family. It's kind of a no-brainer for me and my family to play a lot. So at the end of the day, I'm more than willing to pay for stuff I know I'll play. I think probably most of you are too. Speaking of which, let's go to Star Realms Deluxe Colonial Collection. This just launched. It saw 16 days ago. Right now, it's at about 327 backers. I think it's still raising. It literally just launched. $36,640. And it looks like a lot of fun. Now, Star Realms has been around for a while now, and obviously they have this big box, kind of deluxe colonial exclusive here, and you can get it with all the sleeves and stuff like that. So it's big. They even have an all-in here, and honestly, the price doesn't seem too bad. Looks like a nice box. I love that it folds out, and that's like the tray you use instead of like a neoprene mat. I think that's super awesome. I think that's super awesome, actually. And as you can see, a ton of cars. Now, again, you'll see like a lot of repeats and stuff because it's a deck building game. But the art still looks like a lot of fun. Very colorful, very kind of busy, a little cartoonish a little bit. As you can see, it's old enough for Will Wheaton to actually be able to, advertise it. So it's been around for a long time, and a lot of people like the game. And they even have stuff like the bugs, the blobs, right, which I think is super awesome. My son would love that. He loves the Tyranids in 40K, for example. So I think the question here is for me, and as you can see, shipping, not too bad, right? It says USA, $15 to $25. That's not too bad. For the pledges here, you can see them here. And again, they don't show them very well here, like they have the components and stuff, but they're putting less and less. I've noticed companies putting less and less of their pledges here. I had the same issue with the one on BackerKit, right? Same here. You can kind of look on the side. $89 for the deluxe, $109 for it with sleeves, which is quite nice. $189 for the all-in, and $229 for the all-in with sleeves. Now, I just recently bought and played the Star Wars deck building game, so you might have seen me post about that. And I quite liked it. It wasn't perfect, I felt, because it's 1 versus 1, and the random card draw can really favor one versus another. So it is not the most perfect deck building game I've played, but it's quite a lot of fun. I like the idea of collecting bases and doing stuff like that. Obviously, I like the Star Wars IP. The question is, if I liked that, my understanding is it's fairly based on Star Realms. Should I just get Star Realms? Right now, one of the problems with the Star Wars deck building game is there's only one box. Don't know about any expansions. As far as I know, they haven't even advertised any. But card games, especially deck building games, live and breathe based off of variety. So is this something I should get? Let me know if you've played it before, if you have any ideas or thoughts, especially on the price. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I'll be sure to read them. Next up, we have colorful inserts with original artworks for Popular Games 3. A very weird name, but a very specific name that kind of differentiates this a little bit. So it did fund now 166 backers, 12,000 to go. It is for these specific games here: Voidfall, Septima, White Castle, Nucleum, Machine Arcana, Stars of Akarios, Woodcraft, Kutna, Tiny Epic Cthulhu, and Sword and Sorcery specifically. So if there's others, if you don't have those games, you don't even need this, right? And as you can see, they're quite pricey, right? It's €75 for the Stars of Akarios, or 35 for Nucleum, or if we go over to Machine Arcana, it's €65, right? So fairly pricey, as a lot of these kind of systems are. One thing that separates this a lot is the theme of it. So as you can see, it features actual artwork. It's very officially licensed all over the side. In fact, even the plexiglass that they keep on the top has like a hex thing on it and stuff like that, and the Akarios, the A symbol on there. So very thematic, very fitting in with everything, and quite nice. It's one of those things that doesn't distort it, but can help with setup and stuff like that as you take these modules out and be able to use them either to hold decks or to, separate them out or keep them or whatever. So very cool to see. I think that's awesome. Some of them they show more than others, but I really like the artwork on it. A lot of these other storage solutions don't do that. It's just, black or whatever, or wood. And so to have the artwork on it is kind of nice for sure. So if you love these games, if you want to actually have a premium storage solution, this is probably something to do, though it is quite pricey. Just know that going in. Next up, we have Gates of Niflheim. This is the last 48-hour kind of mark for you guys. So if you were interested in this, now's the time to back it. They're approaching 800 backers. It'd be nice to get to the 1,000, I imagine. 77,000 raised. That's very good for them, I feel. And obviously, they have fantastic minis, but you don't have to have the minis. You also have the cool player boards here, where their items are like these, nice wooden kind of squares that you get to put in there. It just looks very, very nice. It looks very premium, and yet you can play it in just a book and a few standees and pretty much call it good. And so that's kind of nice as well. In fact, they even have a travel version of this, though, as you can see, the minis are very nice as well. They definitely have some premium looking minis that look pretty good. So they're definitely probably going to add this PDF mini campaign. That's kind of cool. I think they've unlocked these two since I covered it last. So they'll probably get this. I don't know if they're going to get the scenario toolkit PDF, but either way, they'll definitely, I think, get another mini campaign. That would be pretty nice as well for backers. Lastly, we have Horizon Forbidden West Seeds of Rebellion. It's at $680,000, 4,400 backers. Still 6 days to go. They've been adding some stuff as well. One thing I want to note before I show this is just an FYI, SFG does tend to have a lot that they juggle at the same time. For instance, you can still lay pledge the Monster Hunter Iceborne, right? So there's still the pledge manager going on there. And so just as an FYI, this kind of stuff moves pretty quick for them. But they are a bigger company and they do tend to churn out. In fact, I believe they have 15 fulfilled campaigns so far, so that's pretty good. I'll have more to say about SFG in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that. It'll be a kind of a deep dive specifically for them. Obviously, I do like the renders, and the minis look cool. They still have this Marshall pledge, and then, of course, they have... If we go to optional buys, let's just go to unlocked goals first. So obviously they have playable alloy, but then they've been doing other ones every few days, as you can see. They have this machine hunting, which is a new game mode, so that's kind of fun. And then, of course, these really nice dice. I love the color of them. I think they look great. Melee Pit, another new game mode. So they're just adding a lot of content there. And I think that's pretty cool. Plus the upgrade pack, which they've been having this whole time. So they have the Lowlands expansion. You get one huge mini to fight, and then 3 of the Marshall minis here. And that's really it. Plus, of course, all the cards and encounter maps over that. So in other words, an extra encounter. Same with the Sky expansion. Almost the exact same thing. You get this mini, plus these 3, plus everything needed to kind of fight it, right? The game board and stuff like that. And that's really it. Pretty low key on a lot of this, which I think is kind of nice that the scope isn't way out of control or anything like that. But otherwise, the main core game still costs about $148, so still fairly pricey, but obviously, you know you're going to get it, which is kind of nice as well. Next up, Masters of the Universe was announced. This is kind of weird because it's it's on GameFound, and in fact, this is going to launch on GameFound. One thing to note, this is now worldwide shipping. So this is now going to Europe. Now, in Europe, the EU, there is a separate rights holder than the rest of the world. So they must have gotten a deal to now actually be able to do that. What this means for the Archon one, the one that I reviewed and was able to play and actually quite enjoyed, I don't know. I don't know if that'll go the other way around and if both rights holders are kind of playing ball for this, or if only the EU one is saying, hey, I don't care if there's 2 games out, or if they're saying, hey, I'm going to boot out Archon. I don't think so, because they've been doing the Battleground stuff for a long time, and they definitely have plans for that by the looks of it. So I don't think this really affects Archon too much, but it'd be kind of interesting if they could do that also worldwide. I'd love to see it, because I really did enjoy that. I haven't even unboxed this. As you can see, it's here. Right, so I'll be unboxing that soon. You might recall that I actually donated my money to CMON because I backed this, as you can see, for $110, and then didn't fill out the pledge manager because I had too much going on, I guess, and I just lapsed, and so I didn't do it. It was also under my old email address, so either way, it was. I'm not making excuses, but they did take my money to give me anything because I failed to fill out the pledge manager. So this is actually thanks to a patron. Is the only reason I'm able to even see this. I'm going to try and actually get a play session in with this as well to give you some first impressions. That way you can go into this knowing, hey, as somebody who's now played both systems, what do I think? I'll try and let you know that. So stay tuned for that, of course. And guys, that is it. That is it. I hope you had a good one. This was a fun one. There's a lot of exciting things on crowdfunding right now. A lot of recommendations from me, which is not always the case, and some questions I'd love to hear your thoughts on. So again, feel free to let me know on those games down below. Of course, if there's something you're looking into, stay tuned for that. The big 2024 crowdfunding video, that is coming. And again, typically in the first week of December, I'm going to produce that. So I'm doing the groundwork now. I've been doing it throughout the whole year. It's going to be a big one, of course. A lot of announcements, a lot of exciting games coming up, plus a special deep dive into Blacklist games coming out tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. You'll see the videos more often. I can be able to help you more often, and it helps the channel out too, because sponsors tend to only look at how many are subscribed as opposed to engagement and, you know, fit for their product even and stuff like that. Certainly not views or anything like that. So it does help a lot, and hopefully you get some help out of it as well. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care, guys. Bye.